Hello children, today we shall continue with the same lesson, that is chapter 6, weathering and soil formation, and the topic is soil. So in the previous class we have discussed about the weathering, isn't it? So weathering, it involves the disintegration or the breaking down of rocks into pieces. But what happens when these rocks are continuously broken down? So these fragments of broken or the disintegrated rocks will form the soil. So soil is the thin surface layer of the earth, okay, which consists of minerals, and it also and they are formed by the breaking down of the rocks and the humus, or we say the organic matter. And these are the natural resources, okay. The soil are the these are the basic natural resource, because they help in the help in the growth of the plants, okay. So what is the soil? So soil is the loose, soft and fine rocky material that form the uppermost layer of the earth crust. So it is loose, it is soft, and it consists of fine rocky material. And where do we find this loose, soft and fine rocky material? On the surface of the earth. So this loose, soft and fine rocky material is known as a soil, okay. So then next, let's see the composition now. The soil is it is composed of minerals, air, water and humus. That means it's made up of minerals 46%, air and water 25%, and your humus, that's organic matter 4%. Now what is the humus? So humus means it's organic matter which is formed by the decomposition of plants and animal remains, and it's very important because it adds to the fertility of the soil. It increases this humus, it increases the fertility of the soil. Then next one, the formation, okay. So it starts with the weathering of the rock. That means the soil formation, it starts with the weathering of the rock masses and accumulation of weathered particles on the surface of the rock masses. So the formation, it begins as soon as the rocks are broken down into pieces, and this broken pieces of rocks, okay, or the fragment, they accumulate where? On the surface of the rock masses. So the formation begins with the weathering of the rock. Now what are the factors next? Now what are the factors controlling the soil formation? So you have 5 factors out here: parent material, climate, relief, organism and time. So let's see the first one, parent material. So what is the parent material? It is the rock from which soils are formed. That means the initial rock, because the soil is formed from the weathering or the breaking down of rock. So that initial rock from which the soil is derived is known as a parent rock or the parent material. And these parent rock, okay, it determines the physical properties of the soil like color, texture, chemical properties, as well as the mineral composition of the soil is all determined by the parent material. So it's a very important factor controlling soil formation. Then number 2 is your climate. So climate, the elements like heat, rain, humidity. So these are the elements of weather and climate. It determines the kind of the weathering which will occur. So we know there are 3 types of weathering, isn't it? Physical or mechanical, then second one is a chemical, and third one is a biological. So these elements of weather or the climate will determine the kind of weathering that will or which will occur. Then next one, you have a relief or the topography. That is the slope of the land and the altitude, because it will determine the accumulation of soil. Like in the steep slope, the material from the steep slope are eroded, isn't it? They are eroded and they are taken or they are transported to the plains, and therefore the plains, they have a fertile soil. Like in India, this is a northern plain of India. It's a fertile region of our country, okay. Then next one is your organism. So you have plants, animals and other microorganisms, and they determine the rate of humus formation. And you know this humus is very important, which is organic matter formed by the decomposition of plants and animal remains, because they influence the fertility of the soil. So therefore this organism is also very important factor controlling the soil formation. And the last one is a time. So time factor also plays a very important role, because soil is not formed in a year or two. It takes a very long time to form the soil. Okay. So therefore the time determines the thickness of the soil formation. And remember, the process of soil formation is very slow. Now, so these are the factors, okay, that controls the formation of the soil. So now we will take another topic, that's a soil profile. Now what is a soil profile? It is a vertical section of the soil, which shows the different layers or the different horizon is known as a soil profile. So there is a diagram in the textbook also. So there are 4 horizons. See there, soil profile has 4 horizons. A horizon, that's a topsoil. Horizon B is your subsoil. Horizon C is your substratum, and horizon D is your bedrock. So now here's a diagram. Okay, so let's see what is it. Horizon A. So the uppermost layer containing organic matter and humus is called the topsoil. And this topsoil is made up of fine particles of clay, silt, sand, humus, salt, minerals and nutrients. So remember, your topsoil, it is a very fine layer, okay, it is a very fine, the topsoil is very fine and it contains organic matter. So now let's go to the second layer, that is horizon B, which is located below the horizon A, is your subsoil. So the layer below the topsoil is called the subsoil. And this subsoil contains weathered rock materials, sand, silt and clay. This layer, this means we are talking about the subsoil. It contains salt, minerals and traces of humus. That means the humus content is low in the subsoil, but in the topsoil it's maximum, but in the subsoil there's only the traces of, we can find only the traces of humus. That means the humus content is less. Then the third horizon, that's horizon D, is a bedrock. Okay, sorry, it's not the bedrock, it's a substratum. The horizon C is your substratum and it's located below your horizon B subsoil. And this substratum, or we call it as a weathered rock, it consists of large fragments of weathered parent rock material. And the last one, okay, and these substratum and the last layer, the parent rock or the bedrock, they do not support any plant growth. So the last layer is the bedrock, and this is not weathered, okay, it's unweathered layer. And this last layer, that is a layer or the horizon D, it provides base, a foundation to the other 3 layers, that's horizon A, B and C. Topsoil, subsoil and a substratum. Okay, so they are provided the base, or the the 4th layer, that's a bedrock. It provides the base to the other 3 layers. Now let's see the importance of soil. So soil is a vital natural resource. Okay, so point number 1, it provides anchorage for roots, hold water and nutrients, and these are important for the water, nutrients. These are very important for the growth of the plant. Then number 2, the roots are the soils are the home to microorganisms that fix nitrogen and decompose organic matter. So this organic microorganism, they are also very important and they live in the soil, because these microorganisms, they break the organic matter. That means they help in the formation of the humus, and that humus, it adds to the fertility of the soil. Okay. Then next point is, it is essential for agriculture, that means the growth of the food crops, which provide us with the food, clothing and shelter. So these are the few importance of soil. So next topic is a soil erosion. So soil erosion means it's a wearing away of the topmost layer of the soil due to the agents like running water, wind, sea waves and so on. So it's a the displacement of the topmost layer of the soil. That is, it is transported from one place to another. Okay. So see here, the removal of the fertile topsoil by agents of erosion. So the agents of erosion are rainwater, river, wind and sea waves. So these agents will remove the fertile, the topmost layer of the soil from one place to another. Even animals and human beings also, they are also responsible for the soil erosion. So here, agents of soil erosion, there are three: running water, wind action and human action. So first let's see the running water. Okay. So when the vegetation is not there, that means in the absence of vegetation and the slope of the land, it will increase the rate of erosion, because the soil will enable the water to percolate beneath the earth, isn't it? So when the vegetation is destroyed, the topmost layer of the soil is washed away from one place to another. So when the topmost layer of the soil is washed in the absence of vegetation, this it is known as a sheet erosion. Then when the sheet erosion takes place several times, so when the topmost layer of the soil is removed several times, a deep grooves or depression is formed on the surface of the earth. So these grooves are known as a gullies, okay, or we call it as a gully erosion. Then the second agent is your wind. So wind is an active agent of erosion in the dry desert region where there is scarcity of rainfall and scarcity of vegetation. So the topmost loose layer of the soil is removed or is taken from one place to another. So wind is also an active agent of erosion in the dry desert region. Then next one is a human action and human activities also, like defective farming techniques, the faulty farming methods, then deforestation like cutting down of trees, and the overgrazing of animals will also lead to soil erosion. Now let's see the last topic, that's the soil conservation. So soil conservation means it is to protect the topsoil from being eroded, or it refers to the protection of the soil against erosion. And you know, the soil conservation is very important because it is the source of a basic need like food and clothing. So see the definition, or what do you mean by soil conservation? It is an effort made by man to prevent soil erosion to retain the fertility of the soil. So in order to prevent the soil erosion, a step has been taken by the man so that we can retain the fertility of the soil, and this is known as the soil conservation. So next, the following measures can be taken to avoid soil erosion. Number one, afforestation. So afforestation means it's a planting of trees on the barren land. And the best way to prevent soil erosion is to bring more area under the forest cover. So therefore, indiscriminate felling of trees must be avoided. Okay. Now second point, check over grazing. So the grazing animals should not be allowed to graze or should not be allowed to move in the same field for a long period of time. Okay. So this grazing animals should be moved over different pasture so as to prevent the loss of vegetation in that particular area. So this will also reduce soil erosion. Then next one, we have constructing dams and barrages. So this is another way by which we can control soil erosion by flood. Okay, so it can be checked by constructing dams or barrages over such rivers because they control the flow of the water. So this check the speed of water and thereby prevent or save soil from erosion. Then next point you have it, improved technique of agriculture. So there are 4 or 5 you can see: counter ploughing, terrace farming, counter barrier, crop rotation and mulching. So first let's see what do you mean by counter ploughing. So counter ploughing means like sloping land is always ploughed across the slope so as to allow the water to sink into the furrow. Now what is a furrow means? It's a long narrow cut in the ground made to plant the trees. Okay. So ploughing parallel to the counter lines can control the flow of the running water down the slope. So this is how we can prevent soil erosion in the sloping or in the hilly areas. Second one is your terrace farming. So in the hilly regions, crops are grown in a step or terraces cut along the slope of the hill so that the flat land is available for cultivation. And at the end of each terrace, okay, at the end of each terrace, a low mud wall called a bund is built so as to stop the flow of the rain water down the slope. So terrace farming is carried out in the hilly area so as to slow down the flow of the water, thereby preventing soil erosion. Then next is your counter barrier. So bunds, you know what are the bunds? These are the low mud walls. They are made using stone, grass and soil. Can be used, or these are used to build the barrier along the counter. That's a boundary. So bund should be constructed and these low hills, the low mud walls should be constructed according to the counter to restrict the flow of water. Then the next one is your crop rotation. So crop rotation means in the same field different crops are grown. Like especially after the growing of the harvesting of the leguminous, the soil exhausting crop, it's better to grow the leguminous plant because these plants help in retaining the fertility of the soil naturally, especially the pulses, peas, beans and all. These are the leguminous crops. Okay. Then next one is the mulching. Now mulching means covering. Okay. The bare ground is covered with a layer of organic matter like straw, husk. Okay, so in order to, and these husk and straw, they are used to cover the soil so as to retain the moisture present in the soil. Then the next one is a shifting cultivation should be banned. Okay, that means the slash and burn method of farming should be avoided. Okay, because the slash and burn means like they cut down the trees, they set the area under fires as a fire, and after cultivating for few years, the farmers they abandon the land and they move to the another area in the forest. So that particular land, okay, that means the previous land, the first land where they have which has been abandoned will go under, or the soil gets eroded because it's already been deforested. So it should be shifting cultivation should be banned. And the last one is your shelter belts. Now shelter belts means here, shelter belts are built in the desert region to reduce the soil erosion caused by wind. So rows of trees are planted in order to reduce the speed of the wind so that the soil particles cannot be picked up and carried away. And this soil erosion, shelter belts are found in Rajasthan and sometimes even in the coastal region of our country.